Hi, everyone. Welcome to season 4 of Queen Me. I'm your host, Ashley Lynn Priore, and I'm the founder and CEO of Queenside Ventures. We are a women-led consulting firm transforming chess into a powerful framework for strategy, leadership, and brand-driven communications. We help individuals, teams, and organizations navigate complex systems, make bold decisions, and build platforms that inspire trust, clarity, and long-term impact. Now, if you've been with us from the beginning, thank you for being a part of this journey. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the table. Queen Me is the signature podcast of Queenside Ventures. And for us at Queenside, we use the chessboard as a framework for leadership and transformation. So for us, every move matters, every voice matters. And the stories we share here are really grounded in people who've said Queen Me, and they've claimed their power to lead, create, and build something that lasts. And this season is all about bold moves, reinvention, and purpose. And now I can promise you that the voices you'll hear will leave you thinking differently about your own next move. Let me give you a sense of what's coming this season because we have a lot of powerful guests lined up to share their journeys with you and how they've transformed their own world and made their own personal chessboard. So first up, you'll meet Erica Reed, and she is the Senior Director of Chapter Success at Friends of the Children. Now, Erica has spent over 15 years serving youth and families, from preschool classrooms to national nonprofits. And we brought her on because she's going to share what it means to build leadership rooted in service, compassion, and consistency. It's a really impactful conversation. And at Queenside, we work a lot with nonprofits. We do a lot of work understanding how to be bold strategic leaders. And Erica's going to talk through that with us. You'll also hear from Denali Sai Nalamalapu, who is a storyteller and activist. And their work is coming out in a brand new graphic memoir that's going to chronicle rural resistance. Now, this episode was just so powerful to be a part of because we'll hear about how love, art, and community are really forms of resistance and how storytelling can be a powerful tool for survival. We'll also talk with one of my good friends who is a certified copywriter and how she helps women entrepreneurs find their voice. Now, I do a lot of work in marketing and brand communications, and why my friend Haley Kajewski is a little bit different is because she talks about how to show up authentically and how to really build a business that does not burn you out and that whose copywriting really makes your story come alive. So we have a really great conversation there. Along with marketing, we'll also meet with Misha Gerhardt, who is the founder of Red Tree Web Design. And she's built some pretty powerful websites for businesses. She leads a women-led agency. And we're going to talk with her all about women in tech, women in business. She has her own podcast, some really great conversation there. We'll also sit down with Ruth Fleury, who's an author, educator, and publisher. You might have seen her books on the shelf. She also runs Scholar of Tomorrow Publishing. And our conversation revolves around how children can see themselves in stories, right? And a lot around what does it mean to self-publish, right? If you want to get into this space, what does that look like? What does that mean? And we'll hear from Jennifer Love, who is a seasoned entrepreneur and money therapist who has scaled businesses, raised capital, and has helped leaders redefine wealth. What Jennifer is going to challenge us to do is to think differently about our own success, not as hustle or external achievement, but as alignment, as well-being and legacy with heart. Now, we have a lot more conversations coming down the line, but each of these connect in some way. Right? And I want you to think about it as a chess match, right? Each move is intentional, each guest adds to the bigger picture, and together they're going to help us create a strategy that we can all step into our purpose. But our first episode is with Kate Grant and the Fistula Foundation. And I want to talk about where we're starting with that. Kate Grant is the founding CEO of the Fistula Foundation. And if you haven't heard of Fistula, you are not alone. Okay, it's one of the most neglected health crises in the world. Fistula is a devastating childbirth injury that leaves women oftentimes ostracized from their families and communities. Now, you can imagine the trauma. You bring a life into this world and then you're abandoned because of a medical condition. Over 1 million women in Africa and Asia are living with fistula today. And yet, and here's the thing that stops me in my tracks every time, fistula can be cured with surgery that costs just about a few $100s. The treatment is available, the need is urgent, and awareness about this is almost non-existent. That's why we brought Kate on. Kate left behind a high-powered advertising career on Madison Ave to take on this fight. And she went from branding and doing consumer campaigns to building a global movement for maternal health. Now, under her leadership, Fistula Foundation has grown from supporting one hospital in Ethiopia to operating in more than 35 countries. Her new book, No Woman Left Behind, is part memoir, part movement. In it, she shares about her own story of burnout and reinvention and what it took to trust herself, to step into work that felt impossible but necessary. One of the reasons that I had Kate come on is not only to highlight fistula and to bring awareness to this, but also to hear her story about her own burnout in corporate America, what that felt like, what she experienced, and how she took that and stepped into her own power. In that conversation, we're going to talk about a lot of things, but most importantly, we're going to hear about how Kate made that jump from corporate comfort to global advocacy. We're going to hear about the leadership principles, or chess moves, that helped her scale impact with government funding. We're going to hear about why solving fistula isn't just about health. It's about justice, equity, and dignity. And we're going to hear what it means to believe that purpose is more powerful than power itself. It's a really, really fascinating conversation, and I can't wait for you to hear. As I prepare for this season, I keep coming back to this, that every guest you'll hear from has made a choice to step into the unknown, and they've redefined what leadership looks like. And they've reminded me, I think, too, that, and I hope that they'll remind you that our next move doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be ours. When I made the decision to start Queenside Ventures, I was at a very interesting and critical point in my life. I had graduated from Pitt and University of Pittsburgh in 2022, and I felt like I had to do what everyone else was doing. I felt like I had to apply for the job, get the job, move out, get my own place, like follow these very traditional steps, right? And that works for people, and I think that's great, but it didn't fit for me, right? I wasn't the type of person that was like, I'm gonna apply for this job and do all these things, right? I felt very different, right? I was in this space where I was applying to jobs I didn't like. And I was applying to jobs too that I just wasn't passionate about, but I felt like I had to do it. And it wasn't until my dear friend and mentor, said to me, Ashley, I don't know why you're applying to these jobs. I don't know why you're making these decisions and applying to things that you aren't passionate about. You love sports, you love chess, you've already built a career with Queen's Gambit. What if you make a move that's actually yours? And that's what I did. And I think that's what this season of Queen Me's about, right? Making a move that is authentically and fully yours, right? Building a career, a life, a movement, piece by piece and move by move, something that's truly yours. So that's what's ahead for season 4 of Queen Me. And this season is about courage, purpose, and transformation. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss episode 2, my full conversation with Kate Grant, because her story is going to inspire you, it's going to challenge you, and it's going to call you to action in ways that you might not expect. Now, if this podcast resonates with you, I want you to share it with somebody who's ready for their own next move. Leave us a review, because every time you do, you help somebody unleash their inner queen. And I'll see you next time with Kate Grant. Until then, remember, your chessboard is yours to play.